model verbs for you guys, it is uh, you don't have a detailed version of this particular topic. Uh, so we'll be only brushing through what it is, but yes, of course, we'll be discussing what it is used for. More details of our more um, by details I mean more specific meanings and all would discuss for English too. But in English one, of course, you have you definitely have a general version of the model verbs, and that's what we intend to do today. We'll start off with the discussion. I'll share the screen with you, but before that, I will talk a little bit about it. Uh, know about what you already know about it. Okay, let's begin talking about what the word modality means, right? So the word model verb comes from the word modality. What do you understand by that word? What is modality? Have you heard this before, or you already know this? Where do you stand with respect to understanding that word modality? Anybody wants to try? Because it's important to know what each of this means. Otherwise, that is thrown at you. Once you understand what their functions are, you really don't have to bother yourself with how to use it. As in, you don't have to bother with what the meaning of this word is, or you don't even have to remember it. Right? The part of memory just goes out of the game of learning. So, and all these words that you use to name things in grammatical concepts, they're all taken from the common usage in language. It's nothing that is constructed.
Ma'am, your
Oh,
voice is breaking in between.
my voice is breaking.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, check. My connections are intact. I don't know why it is so. Is it the same for everyone, or is it just your case?
Yes, ma'am, it is breaking.
It is breaking. Still breaking?
No,
No, ma'am,
ma'am.
now
It
it's
is
fine.
perfect now.
This will happen once in a while. We're all working online. Sometimes you lose connections and all that. But as long as it is um, meaningful, that is all right. But yes, if it is too much of a problem, then just let me know. Uh, yeah. So, what is modality? What do you understand by the word? Any idea? See, modality is just the way you express something, right? Way you talk about, say, a state of mind, your attitude, basically. That's something that you use to your perspectives about anything, right? So it's basically expressions of attitude or perspectives, right? What are some of the modalities that you think you use to express your attitudes, your perspectives, your beliefs, your opinions, etc.? What kind of expressions? Okay, one is possibility. You can talk about the possibility of an event. You can talk about your ability to do something. What more? Anything that you want to add to this? No?
Capacity.
Have you this capacity? Yeah, capacity, ability, yes, the same thing. Possibility is one thing. Anything else? Probability, right? Likelihood. These are all, the way you express your attitudes about something, right? Of an event, about somebody, right? So probability, possibility, ability is the same as capacity, so same thing. Um, Certainty, uncertainty, right? Obligations, right? Or say a hypothetical situation, hmm? Advices, commands, requirements, intentions, promises, threats, right? These are all part of what becomes your attitudinal expression, right? And this put together is called modality, or they are all the expressions that help you talk about these attitudes And in grammar, they are referred to as the modal verbs. Okay? So this is the idea behind the modal verbs. It's not something that is randomly thrown at you. When you study grammar, keep this in mind that, of course, it has a higher functional value to it. But anything in language that has to be put to functional purposes requires to have a grammar. It needs to have a template that we work on. And grammar is nothing but those tools that help you build that part, right? Which helps you build your expression. So it is not in that sense divorced from your personal language. Sometimes people have this complaint, right? Oh, this is too many rules. How can I remember? You don't have to. If you connect it to the real usage, you do not have to worry about the rules. The problem is that you try and learn the language using just grammar books. Don't understand that grammar is just a facilitator to use that language. This is why I talk to you about what modality means. What is the use of modality in our real life when you use the language, right? So they are expressions. That's all. They help you express your attitudes in the most appropriate way. And grammar has facilitated it using some structure called the modal verbs, so that you're able to use it properly in sentences. Okay, now while these are all the expressions that modal verbs can be used for, additionally, particularly in the English language, right, the Western side has a charm for keeping things formal. They are somebody who uh, push too hard for formality. They have employed a method of putting in the formal tones to their language using the expressions of modal verbs. So, in addition to expressing the various modalities that we discussed, like possibility, ability, probability, so on and so forth, the modal verbs are also used to add politeness factors. Okay, and why do you use politeness factors? It is not to sound nice. It is just to keep the uh, situation, to keep the space formal. The yeah, so right, so to keep the space formal, right? So in addition to all that thing, formality is also a function that is performed, or something the model verb facilitates, right? So keep these two things in mind. There are again terms that are used to differentiate between all of these things, but because that is not important, we're not getting. Keep this thing in mind. Every model verb that you use will have at least two meanings, and out of that, one would be modalities that we expressed, right? That we talked about would be ability, probability, possibility, something, and the other meaning shall certainly be your uh, giving a formal tone to your speech or your writing, so on and so forth. Okay, so modal verbs are important both in speaking as well as writing, right? Because formal writing spaces you indulge us in the use of a lot of modal verbs to keep it professional. And even in speaking, when you're having conversations and dialogues with people, depending formal space and depending on the hierarchy of the listener and the speaker involved, use of modal verbs again is something that is expected in that context. Okay, so both speaking and writing requires is an extremely important part of the uh, learning of English language. Okay, so that's about what is modal verb and its uses. Second part, we simply are going to talk about the grammar of modal verbs, right? So, first and foremost thing that anybody has to know about the grammar of the modal verb is that it doesn't, though you call it a verb, and we know that the most important feature of a verb is also that it carries tense, aspect, and agreement along with it. The uh, important functional aspects in the grammar. Tense aspect. Aspect is the progressive, the continuous, and the perfect, and other forms of aspectual. That is something that speaks about the way the action is performed. Tense, of course, is time, and agreement is about the of the subject and agreement with the verb. So we know verb is something that carries all of this, the tense aspect and the agreement. Now, it is expected, it is natural of you to think that if this is a modal verb, then it should also carry a tense. But in that way, modal verb is a different form of, it's a different category of verbs sense that it does not carry tense. They are tenseless. They do not give you any sense of time, right? If at all you get any idea in the sentence of the time, it is and not really from the model verb. You will hear some people saying could is a past form of can or would is a past form of will. This is a wrong understanding, right? While they might carry meanings of present and future times, the verb by itself is not marked for tense. There is no tense marking on either could or would of past tense. Could and would are separate model verbs. Okay, so can is separate, will is separate, would is separate, could is separate. They all have different functions to perform forms of each other because they simply don't carry any tense. This is the most important part that you should know with respect to the grammar of the model. Okay, rest of the things, of course, is a part of the structure formation. Like another part is that you can have negative forms of modal verbs, right? So you have must and must not. Okay, and usually these negative forms are written using contracted forms as they are called. This is mustn't, MUSTN apostrophe T, right? Or N and apostrophe T. So all of these modal verbs also have negative forms except for may and might. May and might do not have a negative, contracted negative form. They can be used in negative, may not and might not, but you won't have a short form usage like they have for others. Shall and will, they will change their forms. So what is the negative form for will? How will you use that? And if I have to say will not, what is the short form for that? How do you write will not in contracted form?
Won't.
No, won't, right? So it changes its form. It has got nothing to do with will not, right? And how about shall? How do we write shall not?
Silent.
Shan't, not shallant, shan't. Okay, SHAN apostrophe T, shan't. So both will and shall, they use, they change their forms while we convert them into the negative forms. Okay, that's how that's written. And may and might do not have a short form. They can be used in negative forms. All modal verbs can be used in the negative form, but they cannot be. May and might will not have a short form like the others will have. Okay. That's the second thing about the form. Okay, so we looked at the functionality, then we looked at the grammar part. Now we are also looking at the form part. Okay, now after that, one more thing about this. You is about the structure, but this is something that you will already see in the sentence. I don't think that that is if you are using model verb to form a question, then what happens? You begin it with a model verb. That is the subject and the position of the subject of the sentence and the model verb is simply reversed, right? If so, for example, the sentence is you tell him to keep quiet. Okay, you can tell him to keep quiet. For example, that's your sentence, right? So if I have to convert this into a question, I simply reverse I just use an inverse method. I just reverse the places of the subject and the question for you can tell him to keep quiet would be, can you tell him to keep quiet? Right? Just a minute. Yeah. So all you have done is you simply, change the place, just reverse the places of, inverse the place of your subject and the model verb. If I have to say something like, um, uh, I should tell him about the work. Okay. So a question to this would, right? Should I tell him about the work? So again, what you have done, I should tell him about the work, should I? So I should has become should I. This is the uh, part of forming questions with model verbs, right? And in sentences, as you saw, like, can you tell him to keep quiet? What was the answer to that? No. If I have a sentence like she can speak fluent French, okay. So what is the construction verb here? So first you have the model verb followed by the bare form of the verb, right? You don't have anything in between. She can speak fluent French. So first modal verb and then the bare form of your verb. We should not do anything until they tell us. So should not do. First comes your modal verb in the negative form here and followed by your bare form of the verb do. Right? They won't be here before 10. Right? Won't be. So first your modal verb followed by your bare form. The tense the sentence has to carry will have to be on that particular verb there. Right? So she can speak fluent French. The tense to the sentence is provided by speak, not can. Right? Uh, then we shouldn't do anything until they tell us. Again, the sentence, whatever tense it carries, is given by the verb do. Right? It is not given by any. It is not given by the modal verb should. Then they won't be here before 10. Again, the tense of the sentence is provided by the verb be. Not Harsh, you have a question?
And bare form is first form of the verb.
Yeah, where form is the first form of the verb. Uh, Okay, so this is all you need to know about the grammar and the form of modal verb and the function. That's all the concept is about. But this is a very important part to understand with respect to. Okay, so that's one part. And any questions that you have about this? Any doubts that you have seen or anything that you wanted to ask? We'll do the exercise, but before that, if there's anything that you want to ask, you can ask. No? No questions? Okay. So then we look at this questions here. Okay. We have just two exercises to look at, nothing more than that. Uh, but even before that, can you tell me how many modal verbs you have? What are some of the things that you have come across? What are the core auxiliary, modern auxiliaries that you have looked at? Yes? Nobody?
And can, could, will, shall, should.
That's all? Can, could, will, shall, should. Yes, that's right. More?
May, might.
May, might. That's six. Can, could, will, would, shall, should. May and might. Eight. There should be one more, right? What is that? Must. Okay. The model verb used for obligations, right? Must. That's the one that you use. So can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, and must. Okay. All right. Any other kind of auxiliaries that you have come across? Any other model verbs that you use? Because these are the core ones, of course. We have 9 core model auxiliaries in English language, but there are a few other verbs also, other phrasal constructions which perform the work of a model verb. Okay. Uh, don't have to get into the details of that. For the time being, at least you should know how to use the core model verbs. But just for your information, have you heard about uses like going to and need to, supposed to, have to, ought to? Have you come across these usages?
Yes.
Yeah. I am supposed to be in the college by 10 tomorrow. Okay. I need to finish this work by the end of this week. Okay. Or it is going to rain. Right. All of these verbs are also used. These phrasal constructions are also used with the meaning of a model verb. Okay. So in addition to the nine core auxiliaries that we discussed, which are can, could, will, would, shall, should, and may, might, and must, you have other uh, secondary auxiliaries, which are also called the semi-modal verbs, like the ones we discussed now. Okay, going to, used to, have to, be able to. But most of the expressions of modalities of possibility, ability, etc., are primarily driven from the core auxiliaries that we have of can, could, will, would, etc. Okay, but just to your knowledge, you should also be looking out for such things there. All right, now we look at the exercise again. So yeah, the first one is a conversation for you. This one is easy. The model verbs to be used are already given there, and this one particularly consists of some of the semi-modal verbs also. So please have a look at it. First, read the conversation properly, okay, and then fill in using the um, model verbs that are available. Okay. After you do this exercise, we'll talk about what each of the model verb stands for, right? What each of them expresses. Which one can you use to express what, right? But first, we'll finish this exercise so that we have an idea, and then we'll talk about in which what meaning can you use each of the core model auxiliaries. Okay, not all of them, of course, only the core model auxiliaries. Please look at this. Read through that conversation first, and then we'll solve it. Okay, so can we do this now? So this is a conversation between Sarah and Dave. Yeah, any question? Anybody? Okay. Between Sarah and Dave. Okay, so you can use how many? A total of eight, and won't can be used twice, right? That into two means. Use all of the ones given there, a total nine options here for the conversation. Let's read what it is. Okay. It's 9:30 a.m. and Dave, a helpful friend, has just arrived at Sarah's flat. Okay. Uh, Dave, Sarah. Hi, Dave. Thanks for coming so quickly. Dave, no problem. Sarah, dash, you like a cup of tea or coffee?
Would you like
What
Would
do
you
you
like
like?
a cup of
would you like to have a cup of coffee?
would
Yeah.
you like a cup of tea or coffee, right? So while you're filling in, also keep in mind that you're going to use the model verb to express the attitudinal meanings and also the meaning of formality, right? So would you like a cup of tea or coffee? Correct. Then, Dave, oh no, thanks. I've already had some. I dashed phone you last night when it started, but then I realized it was after 11 o'clock already. What's the first blank? I dash phone you last night when it started.
Was going to.
Was going to.
I was going to phone you last night when it started, but then I realized it was after 11 o'clock and you dash probably be in bed already.
You shall.
You would.
You shall, no, you would. Okay, and which would? There's an apostrophe D there, right? Do you see the first option there,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So you would probably be
Apostrophe
in,
D is also would.
yeah, it is, yeah, that's also would. Apostrophe D is also. So you would can be written as you apostrophe D, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you would probably be in bed already. Why not shall? So now that we are discussing this, why not shall? We'll also look at what is the meaning of uh, the verbs,
But-
what
Because,
attitudes it
ma'am,
expresses.
the conversation is a past tense and shall is a present
So this is
tense.
what I just told you that we don't use would and could and all as past tense forms of anything, right? The conversation is not in past tense. It's happening now, right? They're talking to each other. So it's not in past tense. The reason is not that it is in past tense, for sure. The reason is something else. Here, would is used as a marker of politeness, right? She's just being formal. You would probably be in bed already, right? Question is why not shall? You shall probably be in bed already. When do we use the model verb shall?
And with I and we.
When the question is when to express what? Even the usage of shall with I is actually a bit archaic. These days, that role is also filled in by will. You will very rarely hear people using shall. And whenever shall is used, it is mostly to express, some sort of legal obligations. Only the legal contracts and all will, to find the word shall abundantly, but even they are, going away with it because they feel that it's a older usage. It really does not serve much purpose. But shall usually is used to show weak obligations and they're mostly so in any other context usage of shall is either a wrong usage or it's an archaic, an old kind of usage. It is not something that you see frequently in the modern English usage. So keep away from shall, even if you have a tendency to use it very sparingly. Okay? Only in situations where you find that there is some sort of a legal obligation or some sort of a permissional situation involved, you can use shall. Otherwise, do away with it. Okay. Okay, so you would probably be in bed already. That's right. Now, they, right? But what's the problem? Sarah, it's the toilet. The water dash stop running, and I'm afraid we dash end up with a huge water bill. The first one, the water dash stop running.
Won't.
Want.
The water won't stop running. Okay. And I am afraid we dash end up with a huge water bill.
Are going to.
Are going
We
to.
are going to, right? So it's the toilet, the water won't stop running, and I am afraid we are going to end up with a huge water bill. Okay, so are going to is going to, they're all, like I told you, they're all expressions of semi modal verbs, right? So they act like uh, modal verbs, okay, but they are a larger phrase construction than the core auxiliary verbs, right? Now, next is Dave. When let's take a look. Dash we.
Wouldn't we?
Shall.
Here you can use shall, right? Because what it's a permissional usage. Shall we? Right? We'll go out tonight for dinner. Shall we? Right? So this is a case where you're seeking somebody's permission, right? So in such cases, you can use shall. It's still used, but otherwise, in other contexts where you have a tendency to use shall, please refrain because for the reasons I mentioned, that we don't use the word shall too much in the modern English anymore. Because most of the work that is done by shall can easily be done by will. So just to not complicate, it's called the principle of economy. If something is not useful, then you drop it. Right? You move on with what you have already. So, well, let's take a look, shall we? Oh, Sarah. I hope it dash be a big problem.
Won't.
It won't be a big problem. I hope it won't be a big problem. Now, last day. Oh, I dash worry if I were you. These old toilets,
Wouldn't.
these old toilets sometimes just need a little help. But first, I dash show you how to shut off the water supply in case this ever happens again. So the first one, oh, I dash worry if I were you.
Will.
Second
Wouldn't.
one, sorry,
Wouldn't.
wouldn't. Okay, now why will you use wouldn't here? That's also important. One very important use of would, uh, besides using it in the politeness context, is this. So, what is the use of would as a modal verb, as a core modal auxiliary verb? How do you, what is the use of, what attitudes does, or what state of existence does the verb would express? Look at the second part of the sentence, if I were you. Okay. So what are we talking about? We're basically talking about an unreal situation or an imaginary situation, or what is also called a hypothetical situation. Right? So whenever you have to talk about a hypothetical situation or an unreal or an imaginary situation, something that has not happened, or something that you're not sure would happen, right? This is why you call it imaginary, unreal, hypothetical, right? In such cases, the model auxiliary to be used is would. The main function of the auxiliary express hypothetical, unreal, imaginary situations. Okay. In addition to, of course, its role of being used in the context of formality, right? So this is one thing that you have to know about the usage of would. So yes, you're right. I won't worry if I were you. Then these old toilets sometimes just need a little help. But first, I dash show you how to shut off the water supply.
I will.
I will. Okay, so intentional usage. Right here, will is used as an intention. Okay, his intention to show you how to shut off the water supply in case this ever happens again. Okay, so usage of the things we have here, the verbs that we used here, at least the ones that we used here, right? So meaning of would and shall. Okay, that is clear to you when to use shall and when to use would. Any questions that you have for this? No? Okay. Now, the next exercise, these are standalone sentences. These are not from conversation. So, we'll talk more about the other auxiliary verbs while we discuss the questions here. Okay. So, the first one, look at this. My grandmother is 85, but she dash still read and write without glasses. What we are planning to express here is ability, right? So if that is the case, what would you choose from can, could, may?
Can.
Can. Can.
My grandmother is 85, but she
Can.
can still read and write without glasses, right? So then can and could both can be used to express ability, right? Could additionally can also be used to express possibility, right? So can and when can you use could as ability? So which context will you be doing that? The meaning will still be of ability, but then if you're using could, it just means that you're using it in a polite context, right? You're adding the politeness factor to it. That's what the usage will be. But otherwise, on its own, could is used to express possibility. Okay, get this? This thing you will have to keep in mind that can, could, will, would, they're all separate auxiliary verbs. They have their own meanings. But sometimes you can replace can with could, especially to show ability, but in a more formal and polite context. Okay, all right. So here it is can. Okay, my grandmother is 85, but she can still read and write without. If I replace it with could, it will simply mean that I'm making it more formal. That's all. Okay, the only change there would be that the meaning doesn't change, it still expresses ability. But by adding this one to it, I'm just making it more formal. Okay, that's all. All right. Now the next one, second, I come with you. Dash, I come with you. Can, will, would.
Can.
Can.
Can I come with you? Can I come with you? So that means can also be used to seek permission. That's what I told you. Your model verbs can have different meanings, right? Model verbs are a category like that. They can have more than one meaning, but the main meaning for is but they're also found in context of permissions. In fact, can is that one model verb which has many meanings, right? Can be used to show sometimes, you know, possibility, sometimes ability, sometimes to request, sometimes to seek permission, sometimes to offer help, sometimes to show certainty, sometimes to even advise people, right? So, in that sense, can is something that has many meanings. So, you'll have to guess its usage from the context, okay, how it is being used. But if somebody asks you what is the primary meaning of the model verb can, you can definitely say that it should have, right? So, or rather, in the context of ability, sorry, expressing ability, the most suitable model verb would be can. Okay, that's all. Third one, dash, you help me with the housework, please. Polite
Could.
Will.
Could you?
Could.
Okay, it says polite request. So you need to choose the most appropriate response here is could. You can use will, but then it mentions polite request. So help me with the housework, please. Okay. Fourth one. There was a time when I dash stay up very late. Ability is what you have to express. Would, could, can.
Could.
Good.
Could.
Could. Okay. There was a time when I could stay up very late. Ability. Now, fifth one. You dash not lose any more weight. You're already slim. Necessity. Which model verb
Should.
expresses necessity?
Should.
Need not.
May,
Need.
need, should.
You may not, share.
Necessity.
Need.
Necessity is expressed
Need.
by need. It's directly linked to the expression need. Okay, so if among the core auxiliaries, necessity is expressed by which model verb? Is it can or could or will or would, may or might or must? Which one do you think will express necessity among the core auxiliaries?
Must.
Must, right? Must. Obligation, because one of the role of must is also to show obligation. So among the core auxiliaries, it is must. Here, need is a semi-model that is connected to the model verb must, right? So here, need. Need is what will express necessity. May and should does not have the function of showing necessity, right? People might confuse this with should, right? Some people would think, okay, why you should, we can write should also. But what's the difference? If I say you should not lose any more weight, what is it? The meaning is I'm advising you, right? Should is mostly used in terms of advice. If I say you should not lose any more weight, it can either be interpreted as an advice or as a suggestion, okay? But definitely not as a necessity. If it has to be necessity, then the word to be used is need or must. In this case, need. Okay, you need not lose any more weight. You must not lose any more weight. This is necessity and obligation. Okay? You should not lose, advice or suggestion. Okay. Now, we, so yeah, you know, this important precisely for for this reason. They have, most of them have the same grammar. The grammatical construction for them is same, and hence multiple options look correct. But the point here is that what is the contextual demand? What is the context asking you to do? So in that terms is how you will choose which model verb goes where. Okay. Sixth one, we dash make the first move. Prohibition.
Must not.
Must
Must
not.
not.
Must not. Okay, we must not make the first move. You're prohibiting somebody from doing something, you use must not. We must not make the first move. Okay. Although, if you see, both will not and cannot is also right grammatically, but contextually, you cannot use will not and can. Okay, only must not goes in. Seventh one, it is snowing outside, so I dash stay at home.
Yes.
Will.
Will. I will.
Intention,
Will.
will, right? Intention is shown by will. So it is snowing outside, so I will stay at home. My intention is to stay at home. Okay, so I will. Uh, Eighth one, I dash get you a shawl from Kashmir. Promise.
Would.
Promise.
I will.
Promise. Will, ma'am.
Will. Will. Okay. So intention, promise, threat, all of this can be covered using the word will. The modal verb used for all of them is will. Okay. Promise, threat, intention, all of them are covered under this part. Will. Will is the one that you use to show that. I will get you a shawl from Kashmir. Okay. Ninth one. Dash, you mind if I borrowed your car?
Would.
Permission. Dash, you mind if I borrowed your car?
Dear.
Will you mind?
You can use both will.
Would.
You can use both will and would. It depends on who you are talking. So if it is in a more a formal context, then you can use would. Hmm? Otherwise, it is will. Okay. Will you mind if I borrowed your car? Okay. Would you mind if I borrowed your car? That's also fine. Okay. But the difference would be of the context. One would be formal and the other would be an informal usage. Okay. Right. 10th one. Dash.
So will is formal or informal?
Will is informal, of course. Would,
Informal.
yeah. More than that, rather than calling will informal, the right method of doing that is saying that would is the formal usage. Okay. So if you intend to make it a formal conversation, then you would say, would you mind? Okay. Otherwise, you say just will you mind? Okay. All right. 10th one, dash, you take care of my dog for a day. Polite request. Will, shall, would.
Would.
Would. Okay, because it says polite request, right? Will you is also correct, but then again, the question is for polite request. So you would say, would you take care of my dog for a day, right? 11th one, I dash swim when I was 6. Ability, can, could, would.
Could.
Can.
I could.
Yeah, I could swim when I was 6. Okay, but why did you choose could?
Because it shows past, I guess. It
Pa-
can shows current.
Sam, it shows ability in past.
It shows ability in past, but the past, where does the sentence gets its tense from? Does it get from could or does it get from something else? Was 6, right? So the actual tense of the sentence is supplied by the auxiliary verb was. Okay, could is just a helping verb even in this case, but because was has come up, you cannot use can and would here. Would definitely is not something. Okay. So about this, can I use would here instead of could? I would swim when I was 6.
No, ma'am.
No.
Why would you not use that?
Would is used in the future.
Would is used in the future, but we just said that it does not have any tense marker.
Because was is there, ma'am. Was the present past.
Was is there, so you cannot use would. Think about the core meaning of this. So could expresses possibility, right? Expresses possibility. I could swim when I was 6. I would swim when I was 6. They're not grammatically wrong and they will have different meanings also.
I think it shows intention.
Yes,
It
ma'am.
was intention. I would swim when I was 6. But then it's done, no? This person is not 6 anymore.
His wish may be that he wished that
It's a
he
wish or possibility.
Wish or possibility. This is for which one? For would.
Would.
Yeah.
I could swim when I was 6 and I would swim when I was 6. So could is all
Would
right. Okay, we don't have to
willingness.
be worried about that. That definitely is a case where which shows possibility. I could swim when I was 6, right? Sorry, ability, right? And what about I would swim? That is where our confusion lies. Now, what would that sentence mean? I would swim when I was 6.
That is imaginary, ma'am.
It is my willingness that he could swim.
Willingness. I would swim when I was 6.
He's making a statement, I think.
Yeah, of course, he's making a statement. Our point is to understand what the statement means, right? I would swim when I was 6. This is a good thing to look up. Please see, how you differentiate between, because this is not an unnecessary usage. Okay, it's not a wrong usage. We also have usages like I would do this, okay, or I could do this. There is a difference in the meaning of both of this. We are clear on the meaning of the usage of could, but we should know how would is used. Okay, so it's a very small thing to look up. See how this is different. Okay, it's a very important thing to understand how to use them. Okay, I can tell you I have the answers, but I would like you to look this up. Okay, so basically it is an exercise to know when to use could and when to use would. Does somebody want to try one last time? Think about it. Could was for what? To show ability, right? I could swim when I was 6. And would?
I think surety,
Sorry?
certainty.
Surety. I would. Would is not used to express certainty as such.
It is for necessity, ma'am. I think it is a necessity. I would definitely swim when I was something like that.
Okay. Yeah. You mean to make more of a definite claim, right? You're expressing some sort of definiteness. Yeah. So in
Yeah,
that sense, I think even certainty is fine to say. I would. Okay, I would do my. Sorry. I would. What is it? Swim, right? I would swim when I was 6. Right. We do not know of the current nature of the action, but when the person was 6, they definitely do something. Okay, to rephrase the sentence, you can frame it as when I was 6, or rather, I would definitely swim when I was 6. If you add the word definitely to it, then usage of would becomes appropriate,
Ma'am,
right? So it's making a definite yes.
ma'am, would we can use would for determination also.
No, same thing. No, they make definiteness, certainty, and what was the other thing somebody said? I forgot about that. Necessity, right? Something somebody said. Yeah.
Then, ma'am, why should not we use would in fifth sentence? You would
Which one?
not fifth sentence.
You would not lose any more weight. No, because it is simply out of context. Look at what follows it. No, you're already slim. You would not lose any more weight. No,
Okay, ma'am.
It doesn't give you any proper meaning. That is why you don't use it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Here we are contrasting between could and swing, since both are grammatically and meaning wise a possibility here. We're just looking at what different meanings it gives. In the first case, it is ability for sure. I could swim when I was 6, but would is also possible if you are expressing something as if you're trying to make a definite claim that I would swim when I was 6.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So that is about the usage. Then on for the 11th sentence, and the 12th one, she does sell her home because she needs money, and you have to express weak possibility.
Might.
May, might, could.
Might.
Might. Yes, right. So both may and might are used usually to express possibility. The difference is may is used for strong possibility, and might is always used to express weak possibility. Right? So I can replace might here with may, and I'll still have a but the meaning expressed is different. When I say she may sell her home, it's almost certain. There's a very strong possibility that the house would be sold because she needs money. But when I say might, I'm telling that there's a very weak possibility that the person will do that. Okay? This is the difference. It's a difference of the degree of possibility between. So one is weak, one is strong. Might is the weaker version. Okay. Okay, so let's do quickly revise on what each sets primarily stand for. Can for ability, could for what can could be used for to express what I mean.
Permission.
Sorry,
Permission.
Possibility.
could. Could again possibility and ability, right? Both
Okay.
can and could can be used for ability. Could can also be additionally used to show possibility, right? What about will? It has a few usages. You can use it to show in
Intention.
Intention.
show
Willingness.
intention. Then second one is promise, right? Promise or threat. Okay, all of this can be uh, shown. Willingness, even willingness can be expressed using the will, right? So intention, promise, threat, willingness, all of this is what we use will for. Then would, the primary function of would be to show what did we discuss? If I were you, right? What was the
Permission.
usage? Yeah, they're found in the if I were you kind of constructions, right? So what does that express?
Possibility.
No, not possibility.
Necessity.
No. If I were you, what does it show? You know this example that we were looking at, no? Here.
Hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Oh, I dash, I wouldn't worry if I would. Correct. Hypothetical, imaginary, unreal situations. Okay. And in addition to that, we saw that it can be used in the polite context, but which could can also be used, of course. And between could and would, the 11th one that we looked at, we saw that we can use it to make definite claims also. I would do it, right? Uh, so that's one thing. And okay, so can, could, will, would, and how about should? In what context this should appear? You
For
should
suggestion.
not lose any. Yeah, correct. You should not lose any more weight. Suggestion or even advice. Okay, any of this can be used for sure. Shall, we'll go up,
Permission.
shall we?
Permission.
Yeah, permission, right? Permission and in legal context for obligations, right? The petitioner shall pay an amount of 5,000 INR towards the Department of XYZ, right? So this is legal usage of the term, legal usage of the model verb shall to express legal obligation, something that you must legally do. So permission is the main thing, and then also legal obligation, shall, should, and then may and might. What are may and might most commonly used for? Express what?
May is strong
Possibility.
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 Possibility, right? Strong and weak possibility. So may for strong possibility and might for weak possibility. And then the last one you have is must. Must is for
Obligation.
strong obligations. You must not violate the traffic rules, right? Very strong obligations. Necessity and obligation both are expressed using must. Okay, you must not lose any more weight. Okay, so the both necessity obligations are covered using the modal verb must. That's all. Quite simple. There is nothing more to grasp in this. Okay, once you understand the context, once you know what context you are delivering them, then the usage becomes very simple. Okay. All right. Any questions that you have in this? So for your purpose, I think these are the only uh, model work required. But in a little more advanced level, you will be also asked about semi-model uses and all that, which you don't need right now. But are the 9 core auxiliaries and their meanings clear to you? By meanings, I mean their usage. Okay, use the way it is used in language. Is that clear? Right? Two main meanings, one of the attitudes, possibility, ability, etc., and the other one of using them in the formal context. Okay, mostly would and could. Would and could are the ones which appear more commonly in the formal context. Okay, so is that
Yep.
clear?
Fixed week practice assignment, last two questions, ma'am. Is and are.
What is it?
Either his sandals or her bag. Dash always on the table.
I'm sorry, I did not really hear you. What is it again? Please come again.
Practice assignment, week 5 practice assignment, ma'am.
Yeah, what is the question? I did not hear the question properly.
Either his sandals or her bag
Huh.
dash
Uh-huh.
always on the table.
Huh.
So
That is
which
uh-huh.
I was
Oh.
filling with the R, but the actual answer is.
Oh, this is a question in agreement. Okay. Yeah. So either the
His
first one is huh?
either his sandals or her bag
Huh.
dash
Huh.
always
Huh.
on
Or
the
her
table.
back. Yeah, yeah. So either and or always takes the singular form of the verb, right? It is not so when you say either sandals or the bag, you're giving an alternative. So it is one among the two. It's not both of it. If it is both of it, then you have a compound subject and you can use a plural verb, right? But when you're giving an alternative or a choice between the two, it is basically one, right? So your subject is still singular, so you'll use a singular verb with it according to the subject verb agreement.
Okay.
That's why it is S, not R.
Ma'am,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Let him finish. You can speak after. If he's done, then we'll
Yes,
give to you.
the next question also, ma'am. Nirmal and Hari
Nirmal
uh,
and Hari.
dash went want to go to the circus.
Hmm.
Here I think it's okay. Don't want to
Yeah.
go to the circus. Please
Ah,
maybe right. And the last one, either my research guide or my supervisor dash attending the online Viva.
ah,
Here also I was trying to fill in the blank with R, but
ah,
it is actual answer is.
Actual
Either
answer
my
is
research.
yes, because you have given the choice. No, it's only one person. The subject is singular, which is why again is either my research supervisor or what's the other thing?
My research guide or my
Huh?
supervisor.
Or my
Either my research
supervisor.
guide
My research guide or my supervisor. The rest of the
is
sentence
dash attending the online Viva.
is attending. Yeah. Again, your subject is singular because you have given an either or choice there.
Because two
If it
persons were
was,
there, I thought R has to be used. I
no,
thought.
there are two persons, but see, there is a choice given between both of them. So both of them will not be attending. Either of them will be attending, right?
Okay, ma'am. When if there is a
Yeah.
both my research guide and my supervisor, then we
Yes,
have to use
both,
R.
or if you have something like my research supervisor, my research guide, and my supervisor, then you will have to use R because now you have two subjects, right?
Okay,
So
ma'am.
automatically your subject becomes plural and you will have to use a plural verb. But if the action is expected to be performed only by a single person, then of course the subject is single.
Right, ma'am.
Okay.
Understand.
Ah,
Yes, ma'am.
all
Ma'am,
right.
Thank you.
Yeah, Priya, can she go first? We'll come to you, Sanjoli, after that because she has been in the
no, ma'am. It was related to the same question.
same
Either or,
question.
if
Ah,
it is either his bag or his
yeah,
sandals.
for
If it plural is coming the second, is there is a chance
ah,
for the verb become the means the plural form?
yes, yes.
Or,
That's right. That's right. So if the second option given is a plural one, then your verb is going to take the plural form. Okay. Ah,
okay.
okay.
ma'am,
Sanjoli, yes, go ahead.
ma'am, in this phone conversation, eighth sentence, can you please? Eighth and ninth one, I didn't.
Conversation or the fill up the blanks one? Which one?
Conversation.
Okay, eighth blank.
O
The last
I
one?
eight. Yes, ma'am, and
Okay.
ninth one.
Yes, yes. Yeah. What do you want to know about it?
Yes, ma'am.
The answers to those questions? Okay, yeah. So the first one is I wouldn't worry. Wouldn't. Okay, would not. Would and apostrophe T. I wouldn't worry if I were you. These old toilets sometimes just needs a little help. But first, I will show you how to shut off the water
Okay,
supply.
ma'am. Okay.
Okay? Yeah. Okay, but do you know why we use
In
that?
eighth one, I guess I don't know.
Eighth one is because look at the construction. If I were you, the person is presenting an imaginary or in a hypothetical situation, right? So which is why would. That is the major function of the
So for
auxiliary verb would.
imaginary, we
Sorry,
write
model
would.
verb would. Would, yes,
Okay.
yes. For all hypothetical imaginary constructions, you have to use the model verb would.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And the second one is will because it shows intention.
Okay.
Okay, I will show you. So will is also used to show intention.
Okay.
That's what the usage is. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Okay. Any other questions, anyone?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes. Hi, Saurabh.
Ma'am, I have a doubt in qualifier question. Okay, so may I ask it here?
Yeah, you can.
Ma'am,
You can,
actually.
no problem.
So, ma'am, the set number QPQ2 as per the answer key. So, ma'am, question number 60 and 70, it's a para-based question. Okay. So, in 17 question number, I have doubt that I think that all of these options should be correct, but it's just first option correct. So, ma'am, will you please look into it?
I don't have the question with me. If you have the question and you can leave it in the chat or something, I can look at it. But I'm not ready. I don't have the question paper or anything ready with me.
Actually, it's para-based question, so you have to rate it. So, ma'am, is there
You don't
any
have to
way?
write it, but if you can find it somewhere, you can paste it. But okay, in that case, what you can do is you can write to the forum. So somebody would reply to you there, right? So instead of you now going and checking for the paragraph question, it's better you post the question there. Or if alternatively, we have a live session tomorrow. So if you can keep the question prepared,
Oh, sure, ma'am.
ask the same question tomorrow also, okay, between 5 to 6.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, then. All right. Thank you for joining in. I hope this is helpful. We'll upload all the documents and please get back to us in case you have any problem viewing either the session or the materials that are uploaded. Keep checking your calendars for the updates on both the links to the future sessions as well as the ones that are done. Okay. So thank you so much. I'll see you again next week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks.
Thank you.